whatever you wind up doing is exactly what you should be doing.
And I have not behaved one single day of my life. Not one day of my life have I behaved, and I am fine.
I need your help. I can't tell you what it is. You can never ask me about it later, and we're going to hurt some people. Whose car are we going to take?
Welcome to the Nikki and Medoro show live on YouTube, where we talk about politics to pop culture and all the nonsense in between, including that debate last night between the candidates to replace the late U.S. Senator Dianne Feinstein. I hope a lot of you watched it. I will do a little bit of a recap, but here's my tease. Two people that were on the stage drove me up the wall. And I'll make this an S sandwich, okay? I think that the debate was good. I really do. I think that they were, it wasn't a scream fest. There were some testy moments and things like that. But, I mean, people were allowed to answer. The S part is, well, the annoying things that happen. But also the moderators, I don't feel were giving people enough time to answer some of these questions. And it was said constantly. And one of the moderators, the guy, I forget his name, he kept wasting time saying, we're running out of time. Like, if you're running out of freaking time, go. Like, just freaking go. Like, they're going to talk over. But anyways, we will talk all about that. I do want to say thank you to Kim McAllister, as always, for keeping the show going when I was up in San Francisco, both Friday and Monday.
It was a challenge yesterday, man. I was having a hard time. Like, my brain and mouth could not get in sync. I don't know what's wrong. Like, I forgot.
You sounded fine to me.
I forgot how to speak the English language. I don't know what happened. Wow.
Well, I mean, I think you always do a great job. I do want to also appreciate and say thank you to everybody that emails me and gives me ideas and reactions to things. I am going to just make one quick statement because I received so many emails on Friday. And thank you. Mm-hmm. Pardon me. So, John Rothman is on the show every Friday, and we adore John Rothman. He's one of our old colleagues at KGO. The man knows his political stuff, and that's why we bring him on for a political roundup on Friday. There is no realm of this universe in which I thought that John Rothman would like my interview with Amr Zar, the Palestinian law professor, writer, and comic that I had to talk about the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Please do not think that I thought that John Rothman in any way, shape, or form was going to agree with him. I don't know if John Rothman listened to the interview before he came on the show on Friday. I'm not going to say he did or he didn't. If he did not, that would explain why I don't think he fully understand why I had Amr on. And just to recap, I was having internet problems. I still am. So the interview would not download fully on YouTube for like ever. I had to keep restarting it. So it is finally up with Amr Zar, pardon me. But I will say this. I understand that it is a very difficult topic to discuss. I was not bringing him on to challenge him. I was bringing him on to get a perspective and have him answer questions. And sometimes I agreed and sometimes I didn't. But I just want to let you guys know that I appreciate it. I have no ill will toward John Rothman for expressing his opinion. And it's his opinion. Okay. I have my opinion and I had my own reason for having the interview with Amr. I don't know if John fully understood that. It is not, I'm not an encyclopedia of Amr Zar and everything that he has said. It's easy to do after the fact. It's Monday morning quarterbacking, taking and interviewing, pausing it and going back. Were there things when I listened back that I wish I would have maybe asked more questions about? Absolutely. But that's an interview. I fully enjoyed Amr on the show. I understand that some people took issue with John Rothman's assessment of the interview, and that's fine. It's absolutely fine. So I love doing interviews. I have hosted and interviewed people for more than 20 years. There was a purpose behind the interview that I did with Amr. And I think I fulfilled it. And whether you liked it or you didn't, I appreciate y'all tuning in and sending me emails. And yeah, so Thank you, John. Should be back on Friday with another political roundup because we have so much politics to talk about. But before we get into last night's debate, let's click that thumbs up button to show support of the show. Please, this is your place where we talk about everything under the sun, and I enjoy being here with you guys every single day. The super chat, of course, is live as well. It's where you could donate to the show with the super thanks, a super sticker, a super comment that we'll read if you're live with us on the show. And then thank you to everyone that's continuing to support us through our Patreon and through PayPal. So if you want to be a monthly Patreon subscriber, those official Medorables, just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com, and you could donate whatever amount you can afford one time a month. PayPal is up. Just go to paypal.com, hit send, and then put in the email, thenikkimedoroshow@gmail.com. Okay, so that's the business out of the way. So who watched the debate last night? Anybody?
I saw some chunks.
Okay. I was watching it in my car. So I'm a taxi cab for my child. So I literally was in my car from, pretty much 5:30 to like 8. Okay. And so I watched it all in the car. It was very frustrating. I was bothering my daughter when I was driving in between. She's like, stop yelling at your phone. I'm like, I cannot watch this debate. Okay. So I will give what I thought was well done. Okay. One, I thought that the candidates were pretty respectful. Okay. I did. I thought while they try to get zingers, and you could always tell when they've worked on lines that they want to get in on the debate.
Oh, I don't you hate that? Like they're so contrived.
Yeah, you're like, you've been doing it. All right. So it was on KTVU, which was the other thing that was kind of annoying because I do prefer when I'm listening in the car to listen on my radio instead of the phone, which I had to do.
It was also live streaming on Politico.com.
Yeah, but I had to have it on my phone. And when you're in your car, you know what I mean? Like I just, it just was annoying. I just wanted to turn on the radio and just kind of like listen, but I couldn't do that. I had to watch it. Okay, so and it was on KTVU and Politico, and it was like on KFI. It was on a bunch of other radio stations. They actually had some of the people from those stations at the debate to ask questions. But here's a few things that were said. There we go.
Let's shake up the Senate. Let's change how Washington works.
I have been a consistent progressive who gets the job done, who has delivered for my constituents.
We need a senator in California who's ready to lead in the big fights, but we also need a senator who can get things done.
As a conservative moderate, I thought it was time to stand up. Time to stand up against career politicians.
Garvey, the former professional baseball player, surging recently in the polls to second. His competitors came out swinging, first pressing him on his refusal to say if he'll back former President Trump if he's the nominee.
You're banging on that trash can just like the Astros did.
Once a Dodger, always a Dodger, and refused to answer the question.
On homelessness, Garvey said he wants an audit of spending after touring encampments, but has not released a specific policy proposal.
I needed to talk to the homeless, went up to them and touched them and listened to them.
As somebody who's been unsheltered, I cannot believe how he described his walk and touching and being there.
Okay, can I just pause? I was cracking up when Garvey said this. He's like, how many of you have walked? He's like, I wanted to talk to the people. I've been down there for 3 weeks. I'm like, woo, okay, 3 weeks. And he's walking amongst the homeless people and he's touching them. Like, it was such an image.
Like Jesus?
Yeah, exactly. Like, I put my hands on him. I'm like, give me a freaking break over here. But okay, let's talk a little bit more. I did love this part.
Sorry, that was a total swing and a miss. We need to build hundreds of thousands of units of new housing. We can do that if we incentivize through tax credits the building of affordable housing.
As Porter and Lee fight for the progressive lane, they disagreed on some inside baseball, the use of earmarks, or a way members of Congress bring money back to local causes.
It is no surprise that Washington politicians think earmarks work. We know that Congressman Schiff didn't solve homelessness in LA, and Congresswoman Lee hasn't solved the challenges in Oakland.
It would really be a dereliction of my duty to my constituents if I did not fight for every single dollar that I could find, because yes, California is a donor state. They deserve their tax dollars back.
Schiff continues to lead this race, both in the polls and fundraising. The three Democrats agreed on issues like Medicare for all and abortion rights rights, but are split on the Israel-Hamas war. Lee calling for an immediate ceasefire. Porter wants conditions met first, and Schiff opposes it.
The only way Israel is going to be secure is through a permanent ceasefire. The only way that is going to happen is with a political and diplomatic solution.
Ceasefire is not a magic word.
I love that
You can't
line.
say it and make it so. But we have to push as the United States, as a world leader, for us to get to a ceasefire and to avoid another forever war.
No country could refuse to defend itself. It has a duty to defend itself. And I think the United States should support Israel in defending itself.
So that's we don't need to play anymore. Now,
There's a lot of differences on that issue.
there is. Now, I will say this. They did a great job editing. Okay. Let me talk. So let's start with Steve Harvey. There is no way I will be able, if he becomes U.S. Senator, to listen to this man talk. You could drive a dump truck through his pregnant pauses when he was talking. For someone that has 30 seconds to a minute to make his statements, I was like, friggin' talk. Like, what are you? I don't know if that's always the way he talks, if he was really thinking about what he was saying. It was very frustrating to listen to him. I felt like he was speaking in these generalities without any specifics whatsoever. And then he had this line where they were the other candidates were pushing him like, what are you going to do? You don't have any specifics. He's like, you'll have more information tomorrow. Who does that sound like?
Oh, Trumper, yeah.
Right? It's like, why don't you tell us now? This is the debate. And while I understand Katie Porter being like career politicians, because she hasn't been in office as long as everybody else, right? So she can say that. The job is politician. You do need to know how this whole thing works. Steve Harvey did not know, in my opinion, how this whole thing works. And to be one of 2 U.S. senators for a state as large as California, no. I just don't think that he has the
He's way out of his lane. Way out of his lane.
He's not ready. He has no You need it's not like you're running for a city council seat or mayor even.
Yeah.
You're talking about a U.S. Senate seat. Like, are you insane? But
so
he's
you
a Republican.
Would think that maybe baseball and having to talk to the media all the time and appearing, in front of a bank of microphones after each game or whatever would prepare you for how to face the media, how to think quickly on your feet. But those talking in sports generalities doesn't translate to having to really answer questions about the issues. And that's a disappointment.
Yeah. And again, I just don't think that he was prepared. I think that he is put out there to be the Republican alternative during a time in which many Californians are extremely frustrated with the status quo. I'll tell you one thing that I do agree with, though. And let me couch this a little bit better. I sort of agree with the idea that it's not a good idea to have a one-party rule, especially in a state as large as California. The problem with trying to have at least a little bit more bipartisanship within the state is you're currently having to work with a political party that wants to take away people's rights. The Republican Party under Donald Trump took away a constitutional right that had been around for 50 freaking years. It's hard to trust Republicans and put them in office when they kowtow to a person like MAGA and like this current Republican Party. It's like, yeah, I'd love to work with you on bills and finances and crime and things like that, except if I give you an ounce of power, look what you did with it. Look what you did with it. Instead of really focusing on problems that affect everybody, you took away women's reproductive rights. You did X, Y, and Z, and that's BS. Calvin says Garvey is copying Beer Boy Kavanaugh on abortion issue. He's agreeing to represent an abortion view regardless of the majority in California because it's his belief. He tries to look like a moderate. Absolutely, Calvin. Steve Garvey said something. He's like, I will always stand with the moral and just and right cause. That's what do you think the right cause is? He doesn't say that. And when people aren't specific, they're trying to BS you. So no, I don't think that anybody was really falling for it. Katie Porter, you guys know that I'm a huge supporter of Katie Porter. I like to go on like X and Facebook and whatever to kind of gauge just the chatter during the debate. There were basically two camps. Some that loved Katie Porter and those that thought she sounded like a robot, which surprised me because I thought Katie Porter, and maybe it's my bias showing because I am supporting Katie Porter. I thought that she understood that she was the only one really up there. I mean, Adam Schiff did pretty good too. That answered the question completely within the time allotted. Like she was prepared. I'm going to get my point. I'm going to say it. I'm not going to be talked over. I'm going to say what I mean. I feel she did excellent. I really do. I thought that she did really, really well. Adam Schiff kind of got a slow start, in my opinion. It didn't seem like they were asking him questions very much at the beginning. And so I was like, hello, Adam, are you going to start speaking? So, he was okay. But the other person that frustrated me, and forgive me, was Barbara Lee. I loved Barbara Lee's answers when she got it out. Like, I feel like this debate platform made her seem shaky when I know she's not. You know what I mean? Like, I know what she means to say, but when she was mentioning bills regarding the homeless, like she just kept stumbling and then throwing in like Maxine Waters' name as a supporter, like extra things that you just didn't need to say that wasted time. She was always over time. And so most of her answers towards the end, when she actually got to the point, were rushed or were drowned out by the bell. And that frustrated me to no end because I know that Barbara Lee is she's a much better, politician than she is a debater, because I just don't think that she did very well.
No.
I mean, let's see. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment. Yeah. Vicky says Barbara Lee did not do well. Chris says, why is California begging for federal money when California sends more money to the feds than any other state? We don't get the money back. We're a donor. We're a donor. We're not a state that receives it. You want to know states that do? Kentucky. All these pull yourself up from your bootstrap states. They're the ones that get the California dollars. Phineas, I think you were the one that said earlier in the comments, and I can't find it right now, that you knew Adam Schiff. Again, I don't think that, besides Steve Harvey, I don't think that we're going to have a bad U.S. Senator replacing Dianne Feinstein. I really, really don't. I prefer Porter. But I will say this, Adam Schiff, he is what I would say, if there's a definition of a career politician, it would be Adam Schiff and Barbara Lee, I guess, they've been it every time. Square says Barbara Lee started every answer with, first, let me say this. She sometimes refused to answer the question because she wanted to say something else. And that just, I think, was wasting time. And you just didn't need to do that. I don't know. I feel like, I like Porter and Schiff. I do like Barbara Lee. I'm not trying to knock Barbara Lee. I feel bad kind of doing that. I do think that she brings a perspective and a platform that could be really good for California. I just don't know. I feel like, again, between Garvey and Lee, and I don't want to be ageist, right? But I think there's this big desire to have somebody in office that isn't in their 70s, right?
Yeah.
Like, I want someone that's going to be a U.S. senator and has something that they can work for because we know how long they could stay in office, right? So I do, and I hate saying that because it doesn't mean that you're disqualified from it, but there is this desire for people to be a bit younger. Porter is. I don't know how old Adam Schiff is, but I don't think he's as old as Harvey, as Garvey or Lee. But yeah. Ren says Barbara Lee is a career politician, but she's not in it for her personal gain. She really is focused on human needs. Yeah, I like Barbara Lee. I do not think she did well in that debate last night at all. I do not. And again, it was just in her delivery. I yelled at her, like, get it out. What are you trying to say? I was so frustrated with her. I'm like, say it. What are you trying to say? Make your point. Make your point. But she just didn't do well in that platform. And then I wake up this morning. I don't know if this is wrong to say. And I've been hemming and hawing, Kim, about whether or not to mention it because I don't know if you've seen the latest ad for Adam Schiff. And it's not Adam Schiff. It's his brother, but it's not his actual brother. It's his big brother. And the big brother, It's a black guy, right? And the whole thing is, I felt a little bit like
Adam Schiff has a big brother.
Adam Schiff was this guy's big brother.
Oh, okay. So Adam Schiff was kind of like a mentor to this man,
I guess.
Okay.
Now I'm going to play you the ad. I just don't understand. Okay, I'm just going to say it bluntly. I just feel like it's look, I was a big brother to a little black kid. I do. I'm like, not saying they don't have a relationship, not saying that they don't love and care for each other and everything like that. I'm just like, what is the point of this? Why not have your wife talk or one of your actual children, right? Like, why did you have to choose your black little brother? That's, the big brother, little brother, whatever, thing. Why are you signaling something? And I don't know. Is that wrong to say? I just feel
like he used the guy.
Yeah. Like, so now you're trying to work on the black vote because Barbara Lee is black. Like, that's kind of where I was going. Okay. So if somebody wants someone that's not a white guy, but look, I was a big brother.
Well, it's one of these things that it's like, if you do something nice, then do something nice.
Right.
But don't trot out the thing that you did that was nice. Otherwise, it looks like you didn't do it for the right reason.
Right. And I'm not saying that they're not close. Like, he was in his wedding. Adam went to his graduation. Here's a picture of him. I mean, it's not as if this is a new thing. I'm not trying to say that at all. He does have a relationship with this guy. So here's a picture. I mean, that's an old picture. Look at Adam Schiff, right? I mean, I'm not saying, but it does seem like, why did you choose him? Why? Because there is nothing is random when you're running for office. Everything is tested and, all those sorts of things. How does it test with the public? Da, 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 da. So now they're like, okay, well, Barbara Lee, also a longtime politician like you, Adam, but she also may have the black vote. How do we get that black vote? Now we're going to trot out and I don't know. It just made me feel yucky. It just did. I was like, yeah. And then there's an old colleague, or I guess they worked together. Katie Porter, that's come out and is not happy with her running and did this whole op-ed in here it is. Harley Rauda wrote this op-ed for the Orange County Register. Apparently Harley worked with Katie Porter, and there's this part in the book where Katie Porter's book, where she says Harley thought that Katie Porter was a valet, and to kind of express like nobody thought that, Katie Porter would be, a lawmaker or whatever like that, and all sorts of things. And so it's a really critical, Harley Rauda was in the House from 2019 to 2021, lives in Southern California. So it's a whole vilifying of Katie Porter today. The last sentence, for instance, says, if you're not Katie Porter, I hope you vote for someone with character, stability, and wisdom. To me, Katie's not that person. She's no better than a bully with a whiteboard who's in this for power and her ego. The last thing we need is more self-centered politicians like Katie Porter. I think the guy just doesn't like her, right? Like, I'm like, whatever. I thought Katie Porter did absolutely perfect. I mean, not perfect, but really good in this debate. But other people said she sounded like a robot. I'm like, no, she just sounded. One question. Oh, what was it?
That guy sounds like bitter beans. Doesn't that sound like somebody who's
Harley
like,
Rauda? Yeah,
I should have been the one. Like, she's nothing but a. What does that mean? You're nothing but a valet. What does that even mean?
Well, they were at this event, and I think that he walked up to her, but he says that didn't even happen. Now, there was one answer where Katie Porter last night just said no. They asked, do you believe, I think, Steve Garvey's position? I think it was on abortion. And you would expect like an elaboration, and she's like, no. That was it. And then
enough said.
Like, everyone started laughing, but like, oh, did you want me to expand on it? How much time are you going to give me? Pamela says, watch the debate. Katie Porter is my choice before the debate, more so now. Schiff is second. Garvey is very MAGA, and Lee, while exceptional in her service, both are too old. Yeah, Ron says, I like Porter. I thought she did excellent. I mean, I think that even during the debate, and of course, just through body language, I think that Adam Schiff was looking at Porter versus Lee or even Garvey as his competition. I really do. I think he was looking at her and hearing her answers, because he would just look over at her and she was concise, succinct. I thought she did good. I thought she really, really did good. And then, of course, today's the new, we'll talk about this more tomorrow, but today's the New Hampshire primary. I know you guys talked a lot about Ron DeSantis dropping out. I was cracking up listening to you guys debate that whole fake Winston Churchill quote. That's funny. I doubt he even found the quote himself. I bet it was somebody on his staff.
Yeah,
You think
sure.
that Ron DeSantis is freaking looking this kind of stuff up? I've seen that quote before and attributed to Winston Churchill. I've never said it and said, Winston Churchill said that. I don't have it. I have like, that's the thing with quotes, right? Especially old quotes. You always run the risk. But did you see, and again, I don't know if this is true, that quote actually was in a Budweiser ad. That's where it comes from. So if you want to know, he's quoting Budweiser, which is fine. But I'm glad that Ron DeSantis dropped out. I don't see why Nikki Haley would ever drop out. If I was Nikki Haley, I don't care if I am a distant. I don't care if I get 0, right? Nothing. I'm staying in this race because there's a huge probability he's not going to be able to run. Right? Like, I'm the only one left. Why the hell would I drop out ever?
Money.
You don't need money if you don't have a candidate because he's not allowed to run anymore. You don't need a lot of money if he's not allowed to be on states' ballots. Like, that's my point. I would gamble. I'd be like, okay, I don't think that she's going to lose. I think she's going to get some of the support. That's what I mean. Some of the support from DeSantis people. I understand that she's not totally MAGA, but I know that there's a lot of people, and I've been watching a ton of interviews of people in New Hampshire who really love their vote, right? They're not just going to give it willy-nilly to anybody. That are done with Trump. They're like, I wanted whomever, right? I wanted this person or that one, whether it was DeSantis or somebody else. Hey, it's going to be Nikki Haley or Donald Trump. And of course, you guys know how I feel about it. I don't know how anybody can vote for Donald Trump, but Nikki Haley says she's not going anywhere. She says, I'm not going to leave. And yeah, I mean, God, I'm so surprised that DeSantis didn't even want to go to Super Tuesday. He must have had 0 money. I mean, I understand not seeing a path, but how can you ignore the fact that Trump has all of these legal problems? And there's a chance that he's not going to win the nomination. Who are those people going to vote for if he's not allowed to?
Spent this ungodly amount of money for not very many votes in Iowa.
Yeah, but it was a caucus. I mean, this is the first primary. And you know the whole thing with Biden. So like, let's not even start the whole, oh my God, Biden didn't do well in New Hampshire. He's not on the ballot in New Hampshire because they wanted to start it in South Carolina. And so he's not even on it. You'd have to write Biden in. So there's a chance that Biden won't get all of the votes in the New Hampshire primary. It's because he's not on the ballot. And that was his decision. That was the DNC's decision. So let's not make any bigger of a story. President Biden is going to have the nomination. He's going to be the candidate for the Democratic vote. But yeah, I would just stick it in. I mean, stick it in. I would stick it out. Either or, you know.
You what? I'm sorry. What, Nikki? Good morning.
God, yeah. And Vilma says, I love hearing Nikki Haley talk about Trump's mental vulnerabilities. Yeah. Some people are trying to act like Trump saying Nikki Haley when he really meant Nancy Pelosi is like one of these mind tricks that he's doing on people, like conflate the two because so many people hate Nancy Pelosi.
Well, a female politician, they're all the same, right?
Exactly, right? They just,
But he said her name over and over again.
Oh, it was weird.
Like Nikki Haley,
Nikki Haley.
50 million times. So you would think by the third time you'd be like, I mean, Nancy Pelosi.
Well, they both start with an N. And I mean, that's as far as he goes. I mean, he's kind of a 1-syllable dude, right? So, I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see. We just got to breathe through the whole thing, right? We just really have to understand that it's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be really, really interesting between who we get for U.S. Senator and who ends up in the White House and how these elections go. I'm already getting old. All right, let's do a few headlines. When we come back, I do want to talk about, and I don't know how much you got into it. I think you did it in your news. Possibly. I think you did it in your news. The In-N-Out Burger closing in Oakland.
Yeah, Mark talked about it, but I haven't heard your perspective.
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about that. Kind of surprised. I'll just tease with this. I don't know it was that bad. Like, oh my God, but it was pretty bad.
Stopped at that In-N-Out on the way home from the Taylor Swift concert.
Did you?
And there was a line.
Oh, there's always a line.
That was like out, but I've never spent this much time at an In-N-Out. There's always a line, but this was like
really long.
I mean, I almost left a couple of times. If the girls weren't so hungry, I wouldn't have. But we stayed in the line, and it took us, I want to say, nearly an hour to get through that thing. It was long. Those lines usually move pretty fast, but this was very long. I didn't see any crime, but I don't think crime was happening to people that were in their cars. I think maybe it's a very dark parking lot. So if you park in that parking lot and walk into the restaurant, you're screwed.
Well, no, you're actually wrong.
I was a sitting duck, huh?
You were. I mean, that's how bad it is at that Oakland In-N-Out. And by the way, just to let you guys know, this is the only time ever that In-N-Out has closed a restaurant. Wow. Ever. In its entire history, it has never closed a restaurant until now. Okay, so we'll talk about that. What can Oakland do about it? Shang Tao, I'll play you a little bit of her response to what's happening. And I still think that Shang Tao has a problem, a credibility problem. I can't see the writing on the wall problem. I can't see that I'm part of the problem. All right, so click the thumbs up button, show your support for the show. And here's some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Oh, yes. Well, voters in New Hampshire are casting ballots in the nation's first presidential primary of 2024. The Republican contest is a head-to-head battle between former President Trump and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley. On the Democratic side, President Biden's name is not on the ballot due to a dispute over the primary calendar with the Democratic National Committee. So some people are urging voters to write his name in. Others say that it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. He's going to get it. But you want to know what's really funny? So while you were talking, I put into Google, right? New Hampshire primary results, right? To see. And right now, there are 6 votes only in, and they're all for Nikki Haley. She has 100% of the votes. And I just want to be like, if I was Donald Trump, I'd say, stop counting the ballots. That's the Trump world.
That was in the place that was opened. They open every year at midnight. There's 6 people in town, and they vote.
They all voted for Nikki Haley.
What's the name of that town?
Oh, I don't know. It doesn't say it. I don't have the name of the town, but I know what you're talking about.
It's not Gobbler's Knob. It's something like that.
Something like that. Yeah. But yeah. So Nikki Haley's up. She's winning so far. Stop counting. Stop counting the ballots.
Kill me if I don't figure out what the name of it is. It's this weird little it's this
Dixville Notch.
Dixville Notch. That's what it is. Dixville Notch. And every year they open at midnight. The 6 people in town that vote come out and vote at midnight. Boom.
All 6.
Done.
All 6 for Nikki Haley.
They have 4 registered Republican voters and 2 independents that participate in that vote.
See?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, who knows? If Nikki Haley, I'm not going to say she's going to be Trump. I'm not even saying that. If she has a good showing, Trump should be worried. And go ahead, Trump. Keep saying Nikki Haley's name over and over again and sound like a Looney Tune. Fine. Like, whatever.
Yeah. That's all, folks. Okay. Speaking of he who shall not be named.
It looks like
Speaking of Voldemort, former President Trump's defamation damages trial is expected to resume in New York tomorrow after it was delayed for 2 days because of COVID concerns. The trial solely to determine how much money writer E. Jean Carroll will get, if any. She was awarded $5 million in a trial last May in which Trump was held liable for sexually abusing her back in the 90s and defaming her. Expelled former New York Republican Congressman George Santos is set to appear in federal court today. It's the court roulette. Yes.
These Republicans, man.
The plan is for Santos's team to get more evidence from the government and to detail the pretrial schedule. In May, Santos was charged with wire fraud, money laundering, and making false statements. In October, additional charges accused Santos of identity theft, using the information and credit cards of campaign donors for lavish personal spending. Oh, that's always nice. Candidates, as you mentioned, in California's U.S. Senate race are clashing over a potential second Donald Trump presidency in 2024. The debate, hosted by Politico and USC in Los Angeles, had Democratic Representative Katie Porter pressuring Republican former baseball star Steve Harvey over whether or not he plans to support Trump for president. Here's some sound.
California, I think what they say is true. Once a Dodger, always a Dodger. He just chewed up 2.5 minutes.
And said nothing. And that was one of the other lines, right? Like Adam Schiff said it was a swing and a miss. And she says, once a Dodger, always a Dodger. It's like, all right.
There's the baseball terminology. I don't know. I guess they practiced it before. They had to get it out.
Of course they do.
Well, Garvey said he'll decide who the best person for the job is presidentially when the time comes. What does that mean?
How do you not know? Yeah, exactly. How do you not know? He's going to support Trump. Anybody that thinks that he's an actual moderate, I would be very hard pressed if you're going to vote. I'll say it. If you vote for Donald Trump, you're not a moderate Republican. You just can't be. Those two things do not align. They do not align whatsoever. Not at all. So if you're going to vote for Trump, you're not a moderate Republican.
That is why Porter accused Garvey of dodging the question.
Yeah.
Democratic Representative Adam Schiff, meanwhile, called Trump a threat to democracy. True. Candidates are vying to fill the seat left vacant by the late Senator Dianne Feinstein, who passed away at the age of 90 in September. Yeah. The man accused in Half Moon Bay's mass shooting is due in court today. That's a crime scene picture from that horrible shooting.
Yeah.
He'll be arraigned in a San Mateo County courtroom on murder and attempted murder charges. Chunil Zhao, indicted by a grand jury on Friday. He is accused of opening fire at 2 farms 1 year ago today, killing 7 people, injuring another. The 68-year-old man arrested in the parking lot of a police substation about 2 hours later. In San Leandro at the Walmart, a particular curious crime. Walmart cashiers are accused of embezzlement in San Leandro. Arrest records claim both women scanned items at checkout that were cheaper than the actual merchandise they were buying. This allegedly happened while they were working and continued over a span of almost 2 months. A review of store surveillance video found the loss to be nearly $1,100.
Oh.
Since been released.
Okay, so they'd have an item, like let's just say, I'm just going to use expensive items, like a book and a phone, right? So they were acting like they were buying the phone, but they were scanning the book. So
something like that. The cheaper item. Yeah.
I swear. I mean, you can't stop all crime, but criminals can get quite ingenious, I guess.
Do they not know there's cameras everywhere and that people are all over the place and they're going to see you?
I feel like people just think they can't watch everybody all the time. Right. But if you know that you like, they have the loss, right? They can go back and be like, okay, our inventory isn't matching up with here. When did we sell that? Those sorts of things. I mean, there's somebody whose job is literally to do that. It might not happen right away, but obviously in this case, after a while, you're going to get caught.
Maybe if you get away with it once, you start feeling too big for your britches and think, oh, no, they didn't catch me then, so they're not going to catch me now.
That happened to somebody I knew years ago in high school. Total thief,
really?
Right? Total thief. I was not a thief, but I knew this person, okay? And I don't know if I've told you guys this story. What they would do is that they would go into the grocery store and they'd load up the cart with stuff, right? And then, but then they'd like start like pocketing other items that they wanted to steal, right? And so they would just have a shopping cart full of stuff, so you're not really paying attention to them because you think that they're buying something. And then they would be like, oh my God, I forgot my bag. Can you watch my cart? Or like they'd leave their cart, and so they'd be like, oh yeah, go ahead. And then they'd just leave. Well, it wasn't the best laid plans, because once you do that, you've annoyed everybody that has to put all your crap away, so they're going to remember you come back in. And that's exactly what happened.
Oh.
Yeah, they got hella busted.
Well, busted at Walmart too.
Yeah, exactly.
This is Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips.
Okay.
He is vowing to stay in the race as long as it takes to have a matchup with former President Trump. A likely story.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He's running as he's a Democrat. He's trying to run against Biden. But he's been having some trouble. His
I would say so.
Well.
I honestly, I could not pick him. If you put a gun to my head and said, who is this? I'd be like, no idea.
Speaking on CNN, the Democratic presidential candidate said he sees an immense need to keep up his challenge. Phillips added his goal is to win 20% of the vote in New Hampshire. Okay.
Well, he could, because again, New Hampshire, Biden is not written on the ballot. You have to write him in because of the DNC decision to wanting to start the primary in South Carolina.
No one is voting for Dean Phillips. No.
Even if he gets it, it doesn't mean anything for Biden. That's all I'm saying.
Today was the day.
Yeah, that's right.
Oppenheimer star Cillian Murphy is among the Best Actor nominees for this year's Academy Awards. The rest of the field announced today includes Bradley Cooper, Paul Giamatti, Coleman Domingo, and Jeffrey Wright. The 96th edition of the Oscars will be held March 10th in Los Angeles.
Can I say something? Okay,
Yeah.
so I have been trying to watch Oppenheimer. It'll be when I start it again.
Both.
When I start it again, it'll be my third time.
Oh my God.
Well, my problem is I find it interesting. It is like, I am sure that if I like dedicated myself to like 3 hours, I'd have to do it in the middle of the day though. I keep falling asleep, and it's just because I'm exhausted, right? I tried to watch it on Friday, which was stupid because I had worked it. I had to get up at 2:00 in the morning. So there's no way I was going to make it a late night on a 3-hour movie. And I tried and I failed. I think I lasted 45 minutes. And then I tried to start it over again Saturday night. No, Sunday. And that wasn't, I just didn't get through it then. So I still probably have a good hour left. It is interesting. I don't feel I'm giving it the best shake, like to really judge the movie. Can I also say, and I don't know if it is, I was looking real quickly, if it's nominated. Oh yeah, for adapted screenplay. Has anyone seen American Fiction? Anyone?
I haven't seen it.
And hold on, let me see if I can get the picture up of it. So I watched it because it's up for a SAG award. And so I've started the whole, trying to watch all the movies and whatever. And it is so good. So basically it's about this Black man who is he's a writer, he's a professor, I think, a teacher or whatever, and he writes a book and his books aren't getting picked up or whatever, and then he has to go home because he's really angry, and his family's like, you can just try to go home. So here's the movie trailer picture. So that's that. It's American Fiction, and Jeffrey Wright, Tracee Ellis Ross, Issa Rae, and Sterling K. Brown, who plays the brother of the guy. So good. Sterling K. Brown is from This Is Us.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. This is a really good movie about what it means to have your voice taken from you and have other people speak for you when they have no comprehension of what it's actually like, and the disagreements within your own quote unquote group. Very good movie. I highly recommend it. So if you're looking for something, and I don't know if you see it on the stream, I don't know if it's on streaming or whatever, but American Fiction, really good. And it's up for some awards and Best Adapted Screenplay. So there you go.
Well, it's interesting what you say about Oppenheimer, because Mark is the same way. He's tried to watch it like several times and can't get through it. Falls asleep every time.
Oh yeah, Jeffrey Wright's also up for Best Actor in that movie. I don't know if he's gonna win it because I haven't watched all the movies. I like Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers. Again, I have not finished Oppenheimer. Who's up for Bradley Cooper? I have not seen Maestro. I have not sine Rustin. I haven't seen a lot of things. The other one I want to see is Poor Things. Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't seen it.
With what's her face? Oh, hold on. If I get her name wrong, I'm gonna Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, yeah.
I've seen now previews of it. I think I want to go see it. It does look funny. It seemed a little weird for me.
It's definitely weird.
Yeah. So
I've heard that from both Tim Sika and Michael Snyder.
It's weird. Okay, yeah. It looks weird, but for comedy, I think I saw one clip and it looked kind of funny. So maybe we'll see.
They also said it's about her sexual awakening.
Well, she it has to do with I don't know if it's death or alien. It's something weird. I'm not quite even sure what the movie is about, but
it's like a modern Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Speaking of Oscars, though, there was a snub today.
Oh, who?
Greta Gerwig. Did
not director?
Christopher Nolan could be in line to win his first Academy Award. But Nolan was previously nominated in the category for Dunkirk, is back in the runnings, but the best director, I guess Gerwig was not nominated. So there's a big to-do about that.
Well, yeah, that's kind of BS, I would say, especially, yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like go through the whole list, and this doesn't even have best director on this list that I'm looking at. That's some BS. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
Um, Netflix and WWE are looking to body slam the competition. The streaming giant will become the exclusive home to Monday Night Raw starting in January of next year. Netflix acquired the rights to WWE's flagship show in a 10-year deal worth about $5 billion. So will people buy Netflix because WWE Raw is it was being shown there? Possibly.
I don't know, man. I mean, I used to watch, like, back in the day, Jake the Snake Roberts used to be my favorite. Obviously, like Hulk Hogan and all those kind of guys. I never got into it like when Rock was on it. That wasn't. But again, I wasn't a huge wrestling. I sent my brother one time for his birthday with his best friend, and I'll never forget it. He called me. He's like, "Yeah, it's fake." I was like, "No shit." Like, obviously it's fake. He's like, "It's totally fake." I'm like, "Okay, well, I hope you had fun. Happy birthday."
Mm. What else I wanted to tell you? Was there anything else? I don't think there's
Mm.
anything else.
Oh, okay.
This report is sponsored by you, which means you.
There
which
you go.
means-
Thanks, George Santos.
Yay! Which means we rely on you to sponsor the Nikki Medoro Show. So please find us at thenikkimedoroshow.com, thenikkimedoroshow.com. That's where the Patreon and the PayPal links are located, and a lot of other stuff too. So check it out, thenikkimedoroshow.com. The super stickers, super chats are open, and we appreciate all of you. I'm Kim McAllister, and this is the Nikki Medoro Show.
Yeah, Murphy says no noms for Gerwig or Margot Robbie, but a nomination for Ken seems like the reason we needed the Barbie movie. Yeah, that's kind of BS. Oscars always blow it. Don't you just feel like all the other awards like get it, and then Oscars are just like, no, we don't like it. We're just gonna do the same thing we always do. Whatever. All right. Okay, so let's talk about the fact that In-N-Out is out. It's out of Oakland. This is the first In-N-Out location that has ever closed. In-N-Out is extremely popular. Like you heard Kim say, she waited in line for like hours. But Kim, you're wrong. The problem is whether you're in line, inside, in your car, you could be a victim.
The In-N-Out in Oakland is located in one of the hotspot areas for crime, near 98th Avenue and Hagenberger. It's an area criminals know they can find unsuspecting tourists coming from the airport. Although In-N-Out says it's been a profitable location for 18 years, they just can't ask their employees or customers to work and visit an unsafe environment.
You can't even leave your car right here to go in there. Within 1 minute, your stuff is getting smashed.
I love this place. I hate to see it go.
On Sunday morning, as In-N-Out announced its closure, Oakland police say they arrested someone for removing an ATM from the wall at the Bank of America, less than half a mile away. And just a couple 100 feet away at the Raising Cane's on Hagenberger, a manager says they were forced to close their indoor dining area and provide employees with a secure fence for parking, all due to break-ins.
It seems like another thing is closing in Oakland, another thing is leaving Oakland, all this stuff. And I get it now. You know what I mean? People ain't trying to deal with this, but you know, we're the ones, especially us East Oaklanders, like we really suffered.
Oakland residents blame city leadership.
The crime getting worse, so the city really need to help us out.
Like I said, you're finally now starting to see a little bit of police around here, but it's just a little bit too late, too little, too late.
Oakland police know the area is a problem, so they increased the number of patrols and started working with a private security team for 24/7 monitoring last year. OPD says in 2023, they saw a 23% reduction in auto burglaries around Hagenberger and 98th Avenue compared to 2022. And despite all the effort, after the In-N-Out on Oak Porch Street closes in late March, customers will have to travel to Alameda or San Leandro to get their double-doubles.
I hate to go way out of the way when I can go right here.
Yep. And so of course Shang Tao is being asked, what the hell are you doing? This is what she told, do I have it? This is what she told KTVU, and it's total BS.
Shang Tao is disputing claims by In-N-Out that the restaurant by the airport is closing because of crime. In a statement, the mayor said, as mayor, I've prioritized this critical gateway to Oakland and surged police presence and employed technology to deter and respond to criminal behavior. The surge in public safety resources has led to a reduction in property crimes along the Hagenberger corridor. Mayor's office says there have been increased amounts of OPD officers in the area over the past few months, as well as expanded private security during the holidays. Those security officers were hired by the port. That contract has now ended. The city says that property crime trended down along Hagenberger in the winter compared to the summer months, including the number of car burglaries and thefts. People who live nearby say they don't always feel safe in the area.
Duh. I mean, and that's the problem is I don't think that Shang Tao gets it. I really
She must
don't.
be living in an alternate reality. I mean, here we have what? I don't know, was it 2 weeks ago? That an issuing of a warning, don't go to any of the gas stations along Hagenberger, you're screwed.
Exactly.
Like, honestly, don't stop for gas at Hagenberger. The rental car companies who want you to fill up the tank even said, don't stop there.
That's
And In-N-Out's like, we have to put up a gate for our employees to park here. And you know how easy it is for TV stations to get the footage that you saw there of people breaking into cars? They just have to sit there with their camera pointed out the window for a second.
And there you go. That's insane. I love that you said that. That's insane that it is so common.
Shang Tao not like rooted in reality?
No. I mean, I understand being the cheerleader of the town that you run, right? I mean, that's kind of what you're supposed to do. Like, I'm going to make it better. We're great. We're Oakland. We fight, like, whatever. I get it. I get that political side of it. But come on, woman. Like, show the same frustration. Explain over and over and over again, saying that you've made this stretch a priority. And then in the same breath, Gaston Michaelian from KTVU says, oh yeah, all that added port security is ended. Well, then you didn't solve the problem. Yeah, it's all fine and dandy when there's a cop there, but you can't do that forever. You need to figure out a way to catch if it's organized, if it's not organized. Somebody said it earlier, basically that they're importing, anonymous. Oakland is literally importing criminals at this point. They know they can get away. Criminals all over the country come here. I don't know if that's exactly true. It also, the problem with this area, similar to other areas around Oakland, and I would say the Bay Area, is when you're close to a freeway or a bar, it's easy to get away, right? So you just hop on the freeway and you get out of town, right? So you have to have added security, but you have to use arrests. You have to blast them. You have to, and not the criminal, but blast the information out to people that you're not taking it anymore because it's a mentality that is taken over. I think Anonymous is exactly right. I think if people are like, dude, I need to get some money, we should break into some cars and see what they got. Dude, Oakland right there. It's a breeding ground of people we could take advantage of. That's it. How are you going to fight against that? It's not going to happen quick. It's definitely not going to happen quick.
You know what? If the Oakland mayor feels that it's so safe, go ahead and have her park her car down there and see what happens.
I mean, see what happens.
As a show of, put my money where my mouth is, I'm just going to park my car here for 20 minutes along Hagenberger and see what happens to me. Right.
So they were saying, Kim, that people, you said it yourself, stuck in a line, stuck in a drive-through, so you can't get out. And what these criminals would do is go up to the car at gunpoint, give me your bag.
Oh my God.
What are you going to do? That's what was happening. That's what was happening.
So scary.
I mean, I wouldn't, someone said you couldn't pay me to go to Oakland. No. I mean, and I hate to judge an entire place that probably has tons of good people, that does have plenty of good people. But I don't want to think that getting a burger and crappy fries is going to lead to the end of my life. You know what I mean? Like, no. So if you're hearing that, dude, even if you're in the drive-through, you could get shot. No burger is worth that. Sorry, no burger is worth that. And then of course the breaking into the cars. I wouldn't want to work there. So again, this In-N-Out was still making money though, because it's In-N-Out, right? And it was the only one in Oakland. But because this city cannot get crime under control, like they just have no control. They can't stop it. They can't apparently arrest enough people to send a signal to other criminals. They're losing their In-N-Out. Now, is it the end of the world? I mean, of course, it's a fast, but it's emblematic. It's emblematic of the problem within the city of Oakland. You can't even keep a profitable business, right? A profitable business making money is like, you know what? I don't even want to make a profit anymore. That's bad. That's bad.
Well, I mean, look at what's happening to their employees.
Yeah,
So
you can't.
we can't ask people to come here. We can't do it.
No. Calvin says Alameda County's DA Pamela Price doesn't care about crime and will not bother to charge any serious crime. Brian says bring back Armstrong. Absolutely. Bring back LaRon Armstrong. How about this? Get a permanent police chief. The fact that she still is denying, and we talked about this last week, denying names at this time? Are you freaking kidding me, woman? Like, no. We need somebody permanent. Square says, I thought it was car break-ins, but now finding out it's assault at gunpoint at the drive-thru. Yes. Oh my God. Oh my God. No. And now, not only have you signaled the criminals of where's a great place to break in and rob people, you signaled to people like us. Like, I don't want to go there. I don't want to go there. And I don't care if it's not fair that the whole place isn't being judged, that we're totally contributing to the doom loop of Oakland, right? But I'm not gonna take my kids at a drive-through that I think that I could get. I mean, you didn't even know it was that bad.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Yeah.
That's crazy. It's crazy. Now there is some good sort of news, but not for Oakland, for San Francisco. So remember, Safeway said earlier this month that they were going to close that Safeway on Weber Street, sell out the property, and they said that crime was the problem. Fillmore residents were really, really upset about this. Apparently, London Breed, so the other mayor, has gone into an agreement with the site's new owner to keep the store open for one more year. Mayor Breed has directed the San Francisco Police Department to commit additional resources to Weber Street. The mayor's office wrote, quote, the unprecedented decision is the result of Mayor Breed leading extensive discussions with Safeway and the site's new owner to find an interim solution to keep services in the area for the Fillmore community while future iterations for the site continue to be determined. I mean, don't break your arm patting your own back. I mean, I'm glad that, they get to keep their grocery store for a while, but this is what's going to happen. It's awful. Now, I think that Safeway was also losing money, right? Because they were getting robbed and people weren't visiting it because things are locked up and all that sort of thing. But between a profitable business leading and grocery stores that are needed in a neighborhood closing down, I don't know what the answer is, Kim. I just don't know. And it's scary. It really, really is scary. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist and say that, people are purposely wanting to see the city fail. And so they're not, doing what they need to do to keep us safe or anything like that. But I believe that there's probably an instance where, why would I want to be, let's just say, a police officer in the city of Oakland? Why? It's dangerous on one hand. And two, it can be often thankless, right? Like, we're going to be talked bad about, like crime is just rampant. Nobody does their job. Those sorts of things.
If I'm another business in San Francisco nearby that's having the same trouble,
right?
And I see the city is saying, Safeway, we'll do anything for you. Stay. We'll deploy extra security for you. I'm thinking, well, what about my business? What are you doing for me?
Right. That's true.
No one's helping me.
Right. Exactly.
So if I threaten to close, do you care about that? No.
I just feel like there's not enough police officers to be everywhere at all time. And so it's kind of the situation where crime is so rampant that all criminals have to do is like, oh, cops are at that Safeway. I'm going to go down the street and rob these cars or this other business, right? I mean, because it's just not possible to be everywhere. So that goes back to the mentality of they're never going to catch me anyway. And so you need to hire more police officers. You need Oakland to have a permanent police chief to lead people, to inspire people to join the department. Because I would not want to be a recruit of a police department that's in shambles. Like, no, thank you. Lori says the Bay Area is getting dissed on network dramas now. The victim's mom on Law & Order SVU said they moved to New York City from San Francisco to get away from the crime. I mean, that's the rep, man. I was telling you, somebody was talking about, who was it? Tupac Shakur. I think it was Dave Chappelle made that joke, right? Tupac Shakur moved from Baltimore to Oakland, comparing the two, which you don't want your city named in the breath of a joke like that. You just don't. But we are way too big of an area with way too many people. And I would say so much going for us if we could just get this under control. I mean, obviously housing and those sorts of things, but which is another thing, Kim. Like, with all the bad headlines, you think the housing prices would freaking go down, but they don't. So it's a no-win situation. You're paying out the ass to live in cities that are way too expensive and have way too much crime.
Mhm.
It's so frustrating. It's so frustrating. Ryan says the police force should be 900 or more. You got to get people though. I mean, how many of you would ever consider being a police officer?
No. And I love the idea of helping people, but
Right.
what are you really doing?
No, yeah. I just, and I hate to say this, it immediately popped into my mind when I asked the question, like, who wants to be a police officer? Who wants to be a teacher? Right? Like a job in which you get abused all the
Mhm.
time and people talk crap about you and don't respect you. I mean, I would say, and I'm sure many people will disagree, I feel like teachers get crapped on way more than police officers do simply because they don't get the pay. Like police officers get at least the pay the
Mhm.
teachers don't get, but it's a hard gig, right?
At one point, I would say, "Well, yes, Nikki, but police officers put their life on the line." Well,
Right, so do
so do
teachers
teachers. Yeah,
now.
exactly.
Oh
It's like,
my God.
yeah, now you don't know who's coming in your classroom with what. Yeah.
Exactly. Phineas says, "Yep, that's why I quit being a babysitter, aka teacher." You want to know the truth? I've looked into it because I love teachers so much. I'm like, okay, I was talking to my friend this past weekend as we were celebrating the 49ers win.
Mhm.
And she was like, yeah, she's like, I don't know how we got on it, but it's substitute teaching. And she's like, yeah, they pay. I don't know. I don't know if it was $300 a day, $400. I don't know what it was. And I was like, but I can't be a substitute teacher. I'm not credentialed. She's like, they don't even care.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh. And I was like, well, that sucks. Like,
It
so when my
really
daughter comes
does.
home and she's like, we had a
Mm.
sub, I'm like, oh, so it was just a warm body? Can you put
Just
a mannequin
somebody
up
there,
there?
babysitter.
Right.
And that sucks because real teachers are
Yes.
very learned in different
Yes.
ways of how kids learn and how kids, different ways of teaching things. If you talk to a real teacher about their philosophies about learning or their strategies about how they're going to try to, teach kids things,
Mhm.
it's very detailed and intricate. They're not just up there,
They're not just all, yeah.
spewing a bunch of crap. They have it's so frustrating to think there's just random people standing there that
Yes.
don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
Okay, here, do this paper.
Mhm.
And thank you, Spencer, for the $5 super sticker. You're awesome.
Spencer!
I understand like if you don't have enough teachers, it's better to have somebody that at least can be like, okay, we're going to continue the lesson with this worksheet or whatever. Like I understand it's better than them not going to school at all. I'm not saying that, but there should be enough teachers and there should be a fight to be a teacher because the pay is so freaking good because you are literally educating the next generation. You are literally in charge of what should be the most important person in taxpayers' lives, which is their own freaking kids. And the fact that we underpay teachers so much and talk crap about them and then, fight them on their lesson plans or what books they want to teach or whatever is BS. Pisses me off so much. And I'm a huge supporter of teachers. But when my friend said you can make hundreds of dollars and just stand up there, I was like, that disrespects the education, what a teacher, a credentialed teacher and up and coming teachers bring to the classroom. And I understand the need for subs. I'm not saying there's not a need, but it should just be more than a warm body. It just should. It's
It was a
it's
great
ridiculous.
job for my mom, who was a teacher for more than 35 years and retired.
But she was a
And
teacher.
she was a real teacher, and she gets a pension that was now, I mean, is now what her salary was, almost
Right.
100% of her salary.
Nice.
Things have changed when you talk about teachers' pensions and,
Right.
different things, but for her, it worked out. I mean, it was she was never gonna make a lot of money. She was never gonna get rich off of it, but she managed to handle my sister and I and, have a house and have a career and
Live in the
but
Bay and
she
yes.
worked really hard. Teachers bring their work home with them. The the work doesn't stop when the lights of the classroom go off. They're
Mhm.
still working at home all the time, correcting papers, doing all kinds of things and planning lessons and things. So it's not a job that just, is 8 hours a day. It goes on and on and on and on.
And you worry about these kids. I mean, good teachers, they know their kids, they worry about they're their children, right? I mean, think about this. Think about how many teachers have freaking died protecting your kids. It's crazy. And yeah, mama 3 boys, don't forget the support staff. They make less than fast food workers. We just have our priorities all messed up in this country. You know what I mean? And it sucks, right? And I hate to pick on the athletes that I know are big business for all these big corporations, but the fact that we don't bat an eye at multi-million-dollar deals in sports, and teachers have to do fundraisers to get pencils and the kids of our own children, it's BS. It's absolutely BS. And yeah, I just feel like
you're totally right. My son's teacher has an Amazon wish list.
Yeah.
It's pencils are on there.
Yeah. Of course it is. Wipes, tissues. I mean, come on. Now, Phineas, I am so interested. What did you teach? What grade did you? Okay, so if I was going to be a teacher, just putting it out there, if I was going to go into teaching, high school would be my last choice. I hands down respect every high school teacher. I can't imagine, especially in this day and age with phones and social media and all the distractions, not to mention puberty and them not even wanting to be there and being so obsessed with, socializing, which is just with the age. High school has to be tough. I would say high school has to be the toughest grade. And I could be wrong. I'm not a teacher. High school, then middle school. So I would want elementary school, elementary school, or you know who I'd want? Kindergartners.
No.
No.
No TK, no kindergarten.
Maybe first grade.
4th grade.
Ooh, 4th grade or 2nd grade. Second grade's a good grade. Well, I'm biased because my daughter had the best 2nd grade teacher. I think my son did too. 2nd grade teachers were awesome in our house.
4th grade, you can back off a little bit and try to teach them some responsibility.
Okay.
Right? I like the idea of 4th grade because then you're
definitely elementary school, right?
It's not a constant hand holding. I don't know. Lori was I'm not sure, a middle school teacher. So middle school might be kind of fun.
Lori says subs don't have to be fully credentialed. The need to pass one of the tests. You also have to apply for a sub credential. I could be a sub while in my program before finishing all the tests, $200 to $300 a day. Okay. You don't have to be fully credentialed. I mean, I could go down the rabbit hole of becoming a sub. I mean, that would be really interesting. Just because I do support teachers and I do love kids, I don't know if I would be a good teacher. I don't know if I have the patience to be a teacher. I just know that they need help. You know what I mean? So it's sort of one of those things where if you're going to complain about something, well, what are you doing about it to help? I mean, we have this show where I always talk up paying teachers more, teacher housing, things like that. Deidre says, I taught 7th grade English and history. Okay. So 7th grade, I feel like that's the start of the bruh, right? Like the not caring, that whole trying to be cool. 6th grade, I feel like they're really innocent. They come from elementary school to middle school and they're like excited to be in middle school. 7th graders are kind of the middle child of middle school. So who knows? And then 8th graders like, oh, I'm almost a high schooler, king and queen of the campus or whatever. Randall says research demonstrates that many public school teachers spend $1,000 a year on buying supplies for their students. Exactly. Yep. Exactly. It's crazy. Anonymous, my 2nd grade niece says, bruh. Yeah. Vinny says you should be a sub for a day in an inner city SIP or charter 1 school. What's an SIP? Forgive me. I don't know what an SIP is. I mean, I have no idea what it would take to be a sub. I don't even know what I would like. I have no point of reference of becoming a sub. I was just blown away by the description of the warm body, which just kind of shocked the crap out of me. Mama 3 boys, I loved working in a preschool kinder, but my pay was barely covering my commute. I was an instructional assistant. Is it expensive also to get your teaching credential? And how long does it take? I don't know, Lori, if you can answer that for me or or Phineas.
I think it takes about a year. It depends on where you go.
To get your credential?
Sonoma State has a program, but if you go to a place like Dominican College in San Rafael, you're going to pay a lot more for it. So it just depends on what program you get into. Right.
And Phineas is middle and high school single subject, and elementary you teach everything. That's a good point. That's a good point. If you could teach any kind of class, what would you teach, Kim?
High school English.
Yeah, it would definitely English. Or if I was going to do high school,
speech and debate. Yeah,
no, I would do creative writing. I loved creative
good.
writing. I loved my creative writing class in high school. It was every time that Mrs. Ray at Presentation High School, I loved her. And that's a big deal that I remember her name because I can't remember anybody's name. It feels like, but I loved her. I love creative writing. It was the best class. I love writing, but I loved writing. So I'd love to do that. If I was going to do high school, it'd be creative writing. And you learn so much about students through creative writing, you know,
public speaking or drama, maybe acting.
Oh, drama would be right up your alley, right?
What are you trying to say?
Well, because you're in the theater, you love all that kind of stuff. That's what I was trying to say. It's 1 year for a credential. Square says Deidre, middle school was the best tween experience. Lori says middle school's worse because of the hormones are just starting. Yeah,
it's true. Yeah, no joke.
Oh yeah, I mean anybody that wants to here, let me do it. That's a good idea, Square. Anybody that wants to come and share their experience of teaching, there's the I'm putting it in the notes if you guys want to hop in. I just feel like to become a teacher, I was talking to my brother actually about this not too long ago because we were just talking about the difference between private education, charter school, public school, and what have you. And I was telling him, you know, I've considered becoming a teacher. One, because I feel like it's very important for people to kind of step into this role. We don't have enough teachers. Not enough people are doing it. And that would be a great way of doing it. But the other part of me kind of had this imposter syndrome, if that makes sense. I never grew up saying I want to be a teacher. I know kids. My friends' kids that are like, I want to be a teacher when I grow up. I never did that, you know? And I don't know if that matters in this day and age. I love Ricky's answer. I could teach advanced sarcasm. That's so funny. But yeah, it's just one of those things where just as we ask people to step up for public safety, I really wish that people would step up to become teachers because it gets a bad rap, right? It really does. Phineas says, Nikki, being a teacher is more than a 1 year specialized graduate program. You have prerequisites that can take years outside a regular BS or a BA degree. So on that note, I have a college degree. Okay. So do I need to do something in addition to having just any college degree, or do I have to go and get something else?
They have continuing education, and maybe you would want to go back and learn the different methods of teaching.
That's what that's the imposter syndrome. I'm like, what the hell do I know about, young minds, right? Because you're trying to teach to these kids in a certain type of way. Sandy says, no way could I teach little kids. For me, it would have to be junior high or high school. I've never been good with little kids, hence why I'm not a mom. I do like little kids. Maybe because I always say this, and it's not really a joke. I feel because I'm short that I'm not, and I'm totally being honest. I'm not making a joke.
They relate to you.
Yes, I really do. I feel like kids are like, hey, like there's not this unbalance of quote unquote power. Not that they won't respect me, because I've always been good. I volunteer in class since my kids were really little, right? Like I could give the mom look like to any kid. I don't care if I know you or not. But I do feel like I kind of disarm them a little bit because I'm not this towering type of person that I'm like, hey, let's do this or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Mama of Three Boys says, if I can go back to school, I would love to teach preschool. And I don't know this. Do you need to go to school to teach preschool? Because I thought the preschool TK was one of those where you didn't necessarily have to have a credential. I mean, Square said it'd be cool to have Nikki's high school English teacher on and discuss Nikki's. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if she's even still alive. Oh, is that what you meant? I don't know if she's still alive. She was kind of old when I was in high school. And I hate to say if she's dead. I don't know, but I think she might be.
I remember the names of my English teachers as well. I had Mr. Reichling at Petaluma High, Ms. Schweitzer, and now I don't remember her name.
You lost it. It was right on the tip of your tongue. It was
right there. Yeah, I had some really good English teachers in high school, though. Really good.
Yeah. Calvin says, you have 2 kids, you know how to teach. They're my kids, though. You know what I mean?
I had a really good journalism teacher in high school and American government. His name was Mr. Grubaugh. Mr. Grubaugh. Nice. Yeah, he is cool.
I mean, I know teachers' names. I forget, I just forget, who they were to me type of thing. Vanessa says, I'm 5'2", so second grade was perfect for me. Just a little bit of a height difference, right? Because I definitely remember when my kids' friends were getting taller and then taller and then taller than me. And then you love kids because they have to tell you every time they see you, I'm taller than you. I'm like, yes, thank you for telling me all the time. But yeah, I don't know. Teaching, it's a selfless endeavor. I don't know if I would ever do it, but I think I'd still kind of like to keep looking into it. All right. School improvement program. Oh, that's what SIP is. Thank you, Phineas. Thank you. Look him up. Sounds like a wonderful teacher. Hold on. Square wants you to look him up. Look who up? Your teacher? Oh, okay. Like one of your favorite teachers to bring on. Hey, if you could find one of our old teachers, who can I bring on that I still know that I really liked? That would be the other thing. It'd be awkward to bring on the teacher that, dragged my desk up with me in it to the corner so I'd stop talking. I wouldn't bring that teacher on. Because that happened to me. That happened to me. Like, can you stop? And that was my English class. And she hated me. I mean, not hate, but my high school English teacher, not my creative writing teacher, my English teacher, my freshman or sophomore year in high school, hated me because I was acing the class, but I would not shut the hell up. Like she's like, stop talking. And born to be a talker. Like, I'm sorry. How many people got that on their report card? Probably both of us. Thank you, Brian, for the $5 super sticker. Thank you. Yeah, and Ron says that when I retire, I wouldn't mind teaching at-risk kids. For some reason, I think I could teach them. Yeah. I don't know. I would love to maybe even like take the leap and be a teacher someday. I don't know. I'm busy right now, but maybe a sub. Who knows? Okay. Let me talk about one more thing before we do headlines again. Okay. Because I think you did do this. I know you did this one in your news. You were talking yesterday in your news about the woman who was arrested with $2,500 worth of Stanley Cups.
Oh yeah, that Lori sent me that story. Yeah,
she sent it to me too. I was cracking up reading this story. So this woman, they had this picture of her trunk. Do I have the picture? Yeah, here
I
it is.
have it. I'll bring it
do you
up.
have it? Bring it up.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and it's just stuffed with these Stanley Cups. And what I don't understand is why do you need, now obviously you could sell them, right? I mean, obviously if you're selling them, but part of me feels like some of these people, and I don't know about this woman, and maybe she was just stealing it to sell, but it seems like some of these people just want all of those Stanley Cups. There it is. Look at that. Now they have the wrapper or the thing on the outside still. So I'm assuming she's selling some of these.
Oh, they have to be for resale. And you see them all over the internet for resale.
So I bought, it sucks. My mother-in-law actually texted me. My mother-in-law's in Kentucky visiting my sister-in-law. And she texted me the other day, Kim. And she's like, just to let you know, one of my nieces never got her Christmas gift. And I had bought it off of Etsy. And I was like, oh no, well, thanks for telling me, because I go on Etsy and I don't know if it got lost in the email or they never sent it to me. But the store that I bought a Stanley Cup from wasn't even a store anymore. So they weren't sending it to me.
Oh man.
And so it was total BS. But what it was it was a Stanley Cup that was etched with all sorts of Taylor Swift lyrics. And
I saw that. That looks
really
cool.
It looked really cool. And she's a huge Swiftie and she loved pink. And it was expensive. I mean, it was probably $80.
Oh my God.
Stanley's, the big ones go for $50 normally. Yeah. Okay. So it was a little bit more, but it was engraved and it was off Etsy. So I didn't mind paying the upsell. I actually had to buy another one that was cheaper. It wasn't exactly the same. I thought the other one was cooler, but still really nice. But again, it's like, how many do you need? And I was at
you don't need that many.
You don't need that many freaking Stanley Cups. I'm sorry. Like, there's no way. So anyways, I was laughing about this story yesterday about this woman stealing all of these Stanley Cups, and people are just so dumb. And I'm at CBS yesterday, and I have a Stanley. It's white, okay, but it's not the one with the.
I have one too.
It's not the one with the handle. It's a skinny one. And one of my coworkers in San Francisco, she's like, I love that you have the old school Stanley Cup. And I was like, yeah. And I only need one. Like, it works fine.
That's it.
It keeps my, it keeps everything nice and cool, and my ice for hours on end. It's not that big of a deal. But there's this girl that also made news yesterday. I don't know if you saw this. She's 16. Now, Kim, if I ever do anything close to this, just smack me upside the head. Stanley Cup collector, 16-year-old teenager, obviously girl, says her parents have spent $3,000 to get her every style of the Stanley tumbler or the cup. $3,000. Now, weren't we buying these? Don't we buy Stanleys or Hydro Flasks so we're not buying disposable things? Like, it's that consumer type. We don't need to. We just have one, and we're going to refill it, and we're going to keep using it. But no, now we need $3,000 worth of every freaking tumbler. I feel that's just as, if not worse, than somebody that uses, a disposable cup.
I'll say that, the Hydro Flasks, we have maybe 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, I have a ton of cups. Don't get me wrong.
Right?
We have tons.
And so those were not cheap either. But when, one's out of commission, when someone's has one in their room, when you're being washed or whatever, and you need one because someone's going to soccer or someone's going to basketball, whatever. So maybe you do need more than one stainless steel cup that you take around. But $3,000 worth?
Oh.
No.
Yeah. And honestly, like, to have all of them, like, I need the Starbucks partnership. I need this one. Like, do you think that beyond someone being like, oh, wow, you got the new Starbucks Stanley? Yes. That is the length of the conversation and the props you're going to continue to get for that cup.
Yeah.
So I feel like then they're just chasing, right? They're chasing the high of people noticing they have the latest and greatest. So KTVU talked with this guy, not KTVU, it was Market Watch, talked with a Market Watch reporter, Charles Passy, was talking about this Stanley craze. Now, do you see this, as you listen to this, the same as other things like Beanie Babies or Cabbage Patch Kids?
Described it, a workday product into kind of a fashionable product. They, a few years back, they started specifically forming partnerships with influencers. They especially targeted women, and they started releasing Stanley Cups in different colors with different themes. And suddenly what was essentially a very utilitarian item became a fashion staple, if you will, or whatever. So people now, sort of show off their cups with this kind of bizarre pride. I mean, we're still just talking about an insulated mug, basically, or whatever. And they collect them.
Yes.
So if you can imagine, they're much like you have with the sneaker craze. That's a smart thing to bring up. Much as you have with the sneaker craze, there are people that are apparently buying these cups that have no intention of drinking out of them. It's just a collection, just like people who buy those sneakers, those limited edition sneakers, and frame them or whatever. But, if you ask me, I think a cup is for drinking, but apparently people are thinking otherwise.
And he was so right about that. At the end of the day, it's a cup. It's a cup. And again, the Hydro Flask craze, now it's Stanley. It's something going to be the next thing.
There's always something. Some people have to have a matching purse for every outfit. Right. A matching high-end purse for every outfit. For some people, it's what's it? I don't know.
Well, there's the shoes. There's the makeup even. I'm trying to get somebody on, by the way. I've been trying to get somebody on to talk about the Sephora tween craze that's going on and how people are going to Sephora, adults like our age, and they look at the store and it's mobbed by young tween girls needing all of this. And so I've reached out to a couple of there's some organic skincare manufacturers or people that own these companies to talk about this, because on one hand, there's nothing wrong with taking care of your skin. On the other, tween skin doesn't need all this stuff, right? Like, you don't need anti-aging stuff.
They want all the lotions and potions.
And so it's all of this influencer on TikTok. Well, if Kylie Jenner has it, then I need it. You're 10. You're 11. You don't need anti-aging. Yes, a nice cleanser that's delicate on the skin, moisturizer and an SPF, you're done. Beat it. Like, I don't need to be spending $600 in Sephora for you to act like spraying crap all over your face. Hold on. I love Square's comment. Narrow at the bottom. He's talking about the Stanley for commuters and not owning a car. Exactly. It's made for certain people.
I have to go read this. Liz says, read the article on The Cut called The Stanley Cup, a 40-ounce bully.
Oh, because people are like teenagers are bullying other people for it.
Yeah, I gotta go check it out.
I mean, that sounds about right. It used to be like at my school, because I wore a uniform, it was your shoes. Like whatever shoes you had. Now, thankfully, I was the type of person who can give two flips about it. I think I stopped caring about my shoes in 8th grade. So in middle school, I was like, and then I'd go to high school and I'd wear the crappiest shoes, clean shoes, dirty shoes, didn't give a crap about my shoes. I know some people that are just, they get, oh my God, such expensive shoes. No way in hell would I do that. Thank you, Brian, for the $5 super sticker. That's it's so ridiculous. The things that people spend money on. And just to bring it, back to politics, and yet President Biden isn't doing anything about inflation. Stop spending $100 on some BS Stanley Cup or shoes if you're hurting so friggin' bad. It's I'm not saying people aren't hurting, but it seems that some people, complain about inflation and are holding their 15th Stanley or a brand new Air Jordans on or whatever. It's like, well,
no.
How bad is it really? Let me break over here. All right. Let's do some headlines and then let's keep it light. I had a bunch of other things that I'm going to talk about. We'll keep it light. I'll leave it up to you. Should we talk about part-time jobs or tipping? Which do you like better? Part-time jobs or
part-time jobs.
Okay, part-time jobs.
I might need to get one.
Well, it's not you. It's not you that we're talking about with these part-time jobs. I will tell you all about that, but click the thumbs up button. The super chat is live. Let's do some headlines.
Now, from around the world to up your street, the Nikki Medoro Show presents News Czar Kim McAllister.
Oh, here goes former President Trump again. He shall not be named. I was kind of waffling back and forth between this picture or you still have the syphilis picture in there, but I just can't even look at it. So we'll go with the fuzzy picture instead. Former President Trump and former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley are going head to head in New Hampshire's presidential primary today. Meanwhile, on the Democratic side, President Biden's name is not on the ballot due to a dispute over the primary calendar, but other Democrats are, including Minnesota Congressman Dean Phillips and author Marianne Williamson. Dean Phillips says President Biden will get creamed by Donald Trump. The only Democrat seen as a possible threat to Biden in today's New Hampshire primary said his party needs to wake up. The Minnesota congressman saying he's talked to Trump supporters in the Granite State and warns they are thoughtful people who come from varied political backgrounds who think President Biden is wrong for the country. Interesting. The central U.S. could see hazardous travel conditions today and tomorrow due to freezing rain and snow. It is a chilly, chilly, chilly one. The National Weather Service says the Midwest, the Great Lakes region, and parts of the Northeast may be in for possible power outages as a result of all of this. Meanwhile, heavy rain threatens flash flooding in the deep South and the Gulf Coast through Wednesday. As we mentioned earlier, former New York Congressman George Santos could take a plea deal in his federal fraud trial. The disgraced Republican politician, who is now working with a team of 3 lawyers, asked the judge for time to pursue plea negotiations. Santos has pleaded not guilty to 23 federal charges, and his legal team continues to review thousands of pieces of evidence, which prosecutors are still handing over on a rolling basis. This is too much.
I swear. It should be a movie. I mean, this whole thing.
Oh, it will be.
I think so. Yeah.
It will be. Of course it will be.
Somebody's already working on it.
Yeah. The Lifetime folks are on it. Okay. They're there. United Airlines CEO disappointed in Boeing's recent issues that have led to United planes being grounded. Scott Kirby saying on CNBC, Boeing needs real action to fix its reputation now. The Federal Aviation Administration launched an investigation into Boeing and ordered the grounding of close to 200 Boeing 759 MAX 9 aircraft after a door plug panel flew off an Alaska Airlines flight earlier this month.
Yeah, a lot of people, I was hearing yesterday, because there was also that cargo plane of Boeing that caught fire that was like making the rounds on X. And they're like, now's the time to buy Boeing stock, because whether you like it or not, Boeing is the plane manufacturer. So they're just going to get it together, but their stock might be down. So if you want to make money, I always love when people say buy stock. And I'm like, yeah, I don't have tens of thousands of dollars for it to make any real difference to me. So yeah, no, I won't be doing that.
Yeah.
I'll tell my guy. I'll tell my investment guy to just take, $10,000 and buy some Boeing stock, please.
Of course.
It's just not my life right now.
Well, if you did have money to throw around, JP Morgan is downgrading Coinbase. Analysts adjusting the crypto exchange's price target to $80. The San Francisco-based company had 52-week high of $187 per
Whenever
share.
you talk about it, I always have to check my Coinbase account. I've always, come on, give it to me.
It makes you sound like such a wheeler and dealer.
I know. So if you guys remember, this was years ago. Remember, at KGO, I bought like 50, was it 50 or $100? I think it was $50 worth of Bitcoin. It wasn't a full Bitcoin because I do not have thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So my $50 currently stands at $798.17.
Oh my goodness.
But it's gone down. It's gone as low as like $200. I just use that. Honestly, that $50 just gives me content. I have never pulled money out. I've never, obviously, I just follow it to say that's why it's ridiculous. Right. And
maybe it's time to cash out. I don't think the crypto industry is going anywhere.
I find
maybe
it's
it's time
fun.
to get your $700 and walk away.
Yeah, they're gonna tax it, and like that. It's more fun to just have it sit there, and I don't have to pay taxes on it because you don't have to pay until you can take the money. And no. I like it. So every time you mention it, I have something to talk about. If I sold it, Kim, I wouldn't be able to do that now, would I?
No, that's true, but that's $700.
I know. Well, I guess if I'm at this point, Kim, I don't need to take the $700 out.
Wow.
It's there. It's there.
I'll take the $700. The historic California State University strike is over after just one day.
Oh, nice. Good.
Professors hit the picket lines yesterday in a fight over higher pay, the most ever to walk out. And they were joined by lecturers, coaches, and librarians across 23 CSU campuses. But everyone returns to work today after a tentative agreement was reached last night. It includes a 5% salary increase retroactive to last July, with another 5% starting this summer. They had wanted 12. It looks like they're settling for 10.
Okay, well, that's good. Yeah, because 5 I don't think is enough, but good. I'm glad that they did. Yeah, I don't know why I get these alerts because I'm not going to college, but they were talking about San Jose State still being open, the campus being open, even if there's problems. Let me give a big thank you right now to Karen. Still thinking about Nikki being tracked to the front in her desk. It could have been me. Still thinking about Nikki. Oh, yeah. For anybody just joining us, that literally happened to me. I was in my English class. I wouldn't shut up. So my teacher grabbed my desk and dragged me to the corner and said, sit here. And I just was like, okay. Stop talking. Thank you, Karen, so much for the $20 donation. For my misbehavior. It's where I learned all my talking skills. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, if you loved the debate last night, the California Senate debate, there's going to be another one. It's another televised debate is in the works for California's Senate race. The top 4 candidates will meet again on February 12th. Democratic Representatives Adam Schiff, Barbara Lee, Katie Porter joined Republican Steve Harvey on the stage in Los Angeles yesterday. They touched on several topics, including abortion, green energy, homelessness, and violence in the Middle East. The 2 winners from the March primary will face off in November. And before the debate last night, that was Schiff and Harvey, right? Because he'd risen in the polls to second. After the debate, we'll see if he sinks back down. I don't know.
Yeah, I think obviously he appeals to Republicans and MAGA in California. Are there
Yeah.
enough? Doug Sovereign, I was listening to him last night giving his analysis. Actually, before the debate, I was listening to him. And he's saying, there's no way that Steve Garvey can beat Adam Schiff, which was
Right.
interesting. But Adam Schiff is the front runner. I mean,
Yeah.
his resume, and I'm not knocking Adam Schiff when I say that I'm a Katie Porter supporter. I hope you guys understand that. I just like what Katie Porter brings. I like her attitude, and she has my vote. But if it's Adam Schiff, it's Adam Schiff. We don't lose in this instance,
No.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
But I don't think Steve Garvey is going to get, we're just so blue. But he might, if he's smart, I would keep hammering home Democratic policies as close to the state we are in the state of California, where we're
No.
all that sort of crap. That's
He
what I would keep
seemed
saying.
like he seemed like he was kind of moving through quicksand. Like he
Yeah,
just
he
moved
talks
slow.
Oh my God. Again, I was like, speak. As someone who talks fast,
Yeah.
which is me, I talk fast. Listening to him talk about putting his hands on homeless people was just I was enraged. I was like, stop talking and stop asking him questions. He seemed very cool, calm, and collected, but he has nothing to lose. Who the hell? He's a baseball player that wants to be a U.S. senator. That's insane to me. That is zero respect for the office. I'm not a career politician. Well, you know what? How about starting with some politics? How about that?
Yeah.
How about that?
SpaceX is giving it another go today in California. So if you see something in the sky, a rocket is set to blast off this afternoon from Santa Barbara County's Vandenberg Space Force Base. It'll be carrying 22 internet satellites to join more than 5,200 currently orbiting Earth. How many do we need? Man, liftoff has been delayed several times because of the weather, with Friday's attempt ending with a 57 seconds left in the countdown. Boy, they really went down to the wire there.
Oh, wow.
SpaceX will air the launch live on its website and on X. So there's that.
I mean, if you see a picture of the planet, I think it's like covered in satellites. Honestly, I feel like there's so many satellites in the sky.
Space junk.
Yeah.
If you're headed to Disneyland, note that they've closed the Haunted Mansion ride for a big expansion project. Yeah, so you're not going to be able to go on the Haunted Mansion right now. It'll include new gardens outside inspired by characters like Master Gracie, Madame Leota, and the One-Eyed Cat. The Southern California theme park confirming the pet cemetery and horse-drawn funeral hearse will stay put. There's no exact date for reopening, but it is expected to be several months where the Haunted Mansion is out of commission.
Well, it's a good time to do it. I mean, you want to have it ready for Halloween, I would imagine. I mean, not that the Haunted Mansion is a good every time of year, but if you're going to do an expansion for that particular area, do it now. I don't know when I'd ever go back to Disneyland, but good on them.
Well, speaking of overhauling things, Disneyland is also overhauling its entrance gates at both the Disneyland Resort and the California Adventure Park. 62 automated turnstiles are being installed for $4.8 million. The construction happening in phases to limit impacts on guests. Work to first remove the old turnstiles will start later this year. I wonder if is it time to just replace them, or if there's something wrong with them?
Well, does that mean that the people that work the turnstiles have lost their job?
No, I think they just shift around, right? So you close down these two and replace them, and then you open those two and you close down.
But do you
these
need a
two
person standing there is what I mean if they're automated?
I don't know.
I mean, right now there's a person that checks your ticket.
Yeah.
And checks to make sure you don't have a kid in your stroller that's like 7.
I would,
10.
I don't know. That's really interesting. I'm not
You
sure.
know?
I don't know. I mean, it would seem weird not to have someone standing there, and they have to take
welcome you to Disneyland.
They take your picture, right, as you walk in to put it on your ticket.
Oh, do they? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah.
That. Okay.
Yeah, you walk in, and the first thing they do at the ticket gate is they take your picture, they put your picture on your ticket, they print it out, and they hand it to you.
Really? I don't remember them doing that to me.
Mm-hmm. So every ticket has a coordinated picture. They know who you are, wherever you are in the park.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was so discombobulated when I went into Disneyland when we went the last time, so it doesn't surprise me that I don't remember that. Plus, we came from Oh, maybe you're right. Well, because we came from the Grand Californian, and they had the whole security thing there.
Right.
But then we'd had to do still the main entrance. Oh, I just don't remember it. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
I think people are losing their jobs. Let me just say that.
Yeah, you might be right. I don't know. 2 students are celebrating their win at the Santa Cruz County Spelling Bee. Yay!
Okay, give me the word. Give me the word. I'm gonna try.
I don't think I have the words, but they punched their ticket to the California State Spelling Bee Championship in San Joaquin County. A 6th grader from Mountain Elementary took the elementary school division, and a 7th grader from San Lorenzo Valley's charter school won the junior high division.
Nice.
The runner-ups also get to go. The competition is at the end of April. We don't know exactly what words they answered. So
I think I could do pretty good. I'm a pretty good speller. I'm not the. I've never gotten very far in the spelling bee. I also didn't try very hard.
Right.
That was always my problem as a student. Like if you tried a little bit harder, you probably would have done better.
Nikki would be an A student if she would just put in a little more effort.
Yeah, exactly. That's usually what it is, though.
Story of my report card, right?
If you stopped talking so freaking much, maybe you'd do better. But I do remember this one time I took a spelling test. It still pisses me off to this day. This was back in the day when you had to use cursive, right? To write, right? It was required. And I'll never forget the word was very, okay? Like I love you very much, okay? And I did it in cursive. And the V, the loop that connected the V to the E went too far down that she said that I made a U. And I was so mad because I was like, do you really think that you're like, what do you think I'm doing? Like, obviously, I could spell it, but yeah, I'll never forget. I think I was supposed to get 100%. I remember I brought it to her. I'm like, that's very, and she's like, that looks like a U to me. And I'll never forget how angry I was. I was like, the word is very, like, obviously I'm making a V, like of any of the letters.
Yeah.
Like I can understand messing up the E, but it's a V. Like I know phonics, biatch. Like I was so mad. I was so mad. So this is my spelling.
I never won the spelling competition, although I don't think I'm a bad speller. But what? I did win the speech contest in elementary school.
Oh, that's
that was
fun.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
I took speech 1 year in high school. I didn't go very far with that either.
No?
No.
I would have thought you would have knocked that out of the park, sister.
It was a 0 period. This woman likes her sleep. So that wasn't happening. That was literally the only reason I stopped taking speech. I was like, I am not getting up for 0 period to argue. I could do that at home for free.
I don't know if you're going through this, but the registration for next year's high school classes is underway. And I have the case of Julia, who's it's like her, your eyes are bigger than your stomach.
Oh no.
She wants to take all the classes.
No. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Skip certain classes to take the advanced class because she doesn't want to sit through math 3. She wants to go straight into this other math class. And I'm like, you're setting yourself up for failure. She's like, I want to take this class and I want to take this class and I'm like, oh
yeah, those conversations are not happening in my household. My daughter's like, I was like, do you want to try to take a 7th period? She's like, yeah, no. I was like, okay, fine.
Oh, Julia wants to take a 0 period because if you don't, then you don't get to take all these electives. And she wants to take all these electives.
In. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We get an elective already. So
I'm trying to tell her, you can't take all these classes. This is a recipe for disaster.
Well, let her learn.
Are you really going to get to? But this is the thing. And don't colleges really pay attention to sophomore and junior year?
Yeah.
Mostly.
Yeah.
So she can't afford to screw this up next year. She can't be taking all these classes just because she's like, ooh, candy store. Right.
Right. But do you want to? There's life lessons in there, Kim.
That's
you know
true.
What I mean? Like there is a life lesson. It's because if she doesn't learn it now, maybe she'll make the same mistake in college, right?
True.
Where you're
too much.
Totally inundate yourself but if she learns it now,
and
isn't there a period where you could drop it if you're in the classes and you're like,
That's
oh my
what she
God.
said. Yeah.
Yeah. So just go in, see what it's like. And who knows, she might surprise you, mama.
And I want to take wind ensemble, and I want to take jazz band, and I want to take AP psychology. And look, they have an economics class. I'm like,
wow. I love your daughter. Look at she is the literal opposite of me. I was like, and what do I have to do so I can be done with this, please?
No, it's one of those things where you have to finish what you start. So the eyes are bigger right now at the beginning with all the shiny new classes than they will be in the middle of the semester, right? So yeah.
My daughter. Yeah, go ahead.
My daughter took 2 AP classes and she hates writing. I said, why are you doing this? You don't need to. Exactly.
Well, I think that there's also, and forgive me because again, our kids are just starting high school, but you probably know this since your daughter's attempting to go into AP classes. It's this mentality that I have to take these classes if I want to either go to this college or whatever, and that track. But there's also a lot of people saying, look, it's better for you to kind of pull back and make sure that you do well versus doing poorly in AP classes that are just going to look bad.
That's right.
On the other side. I don't know. I mean, I think it's up to your kid, right? I mean, what do you think?
I think you have to guide your child. Like if they're trying to take 5 AP classes, then you might want to say, listen, the whole point of AP classes is to do well in them. And you're setting yourself up for a moment where maybe you're unrealistic in your expectations of how well you can do if you're trying to take all these classes and all these extracurricular activities and 0 period. Like, really? Let's be realistic, right?
Heather says, I took all of the AP classes available, hated 75% of them because I wanted to look good on a college application. I hope you got into the college you wanted.
Did it work for you, Heather? Tell us. Did it work for you? I don't know.
Heather says they did.
Okay.
I was a straight A student, but hated every second of it. Oh, geez.
Poor thing. See,
I don't want to hear that though. Right? That kind of sucks.
Because then you're miserable. It's just this huge balance between what did she say? It did work. I went to Smith. That's pretty cool. Was it worth it? I mean, do you look back do you look back though and think, would you rather have enjoyed your high school experience and chilled out on yourself a little bit and maybe still had a similar result?
I feel like it's the personality of the student. Like would you enjoy high school if you felt like you weren't doing enough to get into college? You know what I mean? Like, what is your purpose of being there? Janet says, my daughter did the same, took AP calculus because she wants to be a history major. I had her drop AP calc because, or BC class because she didn't need it.
That's exactly where we're going, Janet. Julia has already kind of plotted out her classes, and that same class, AP Calculus BC, is what she'll take her junior year. And I'm looking at her. She thinks right now at this moment that she wants to go into law. And I thought, well, that's great, but do you need the advanced calculus class for that? I mean, far be it for me to say, but that's what looks good on a college transcript, same as Heather was saying. So
yeah. And Heather makes a good point though. She says it was a big push to get the hell out of my backwater town and have a life. And I feel like when you have that kind of motivation, it's like you're looking around and you're like, I'm not staying here with you guys. Like I want to go this place or that place, not knocking those people. They might be nice people, but I want more than what I'm seeing here. And so that has to be a huge motivation, huge motivation. So I tip my hat to you guys. That was not me. Oh.
Right on, Heather. But I wish high school had been more fun for you.
Yeah.
2 songs from Barbie will be going up against each other at this year's Academy Awards. Billie Eilish's "What Was I Made For?"
Love that song.
And Ryan Gosling's "I'm Just Ken." Both earned nominations for Best Original Song. Dua Lipa's Barbie song "Just Dance the Night" made the short list, but rules stipulate a maximum of 2 songs from one movie can be nominated.
Oh yeah.
The rest of the nominees include "The Fire Inside" by Diane Warren from Flamin' Hot, Wazahazi, a song for my people by Scott George from Killers of the Flower Moon, and It Never Went Away by John Batiste and Dan Wilson from American Symphony. The 96th edition of the Oscars, again, held March 10th in Los Angeles.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm Just Ken is a fun song. I think that there is more to scratch under the surface of that song. I know it's like kind of, it seems frivolous, but so did the Barbie movie, but there's so much more to that movie than it's about a plastic doll. I mean, again, it is. And for people like, I don't know if you saw Oliver Stone was criticizing Ryan Gosling for even taking the role of Ken in that movie. He's like, he needs to take more serious movies. Oliver Stone, did you watch Barbie? Like, do you even get it? Oliver Stone was, Natural Born Killers, Oliver Stone's done, tons of movies that I've liked, but give me a break. It sounded so freaking sexist for him to be like, do serious movies. I'm like, shut up, Oliver Stone. What Was I Made For should totally win over Ken, in my opinion. That song is So good. So good.
So we talked about the Best Actor nominees earlier. Best Actress nominees. Lily Gladstone making history at this year's Academy Awards. She is the first Native American actress to be nominated for Best Actress, earning the nod for her performance in Killers of the Flower Moon. She'll be joined by Emma Stone, who did take home the Golden Globe for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy for her role in Poor Things. Other nominees include Sandra Huller for Anatomy of a Fall, Carey Mulligan for Maestro, and Annette Bening for Naiad. So
I want to see Anatomy of a Fall. I've heard really good things about that. I want to see Poor Things. Maestro, I don't know why. I just don't have any desire to watch that movie. It obviously is good. I heard Bradley Cooper does an amazing job. Obviously, I do want to see Killers of the Flower Moon, but it's kind of in the same category as Oppenheimer. I gotta have a lot of time in my day, and I don't. By the time I do, it's late at night and I fall asleep because I'm old. So it's like, I don't know.
Best Director, Christopher Nolan. For Oppenheimer, right?
Yeah.
And then Martin Scorsese for Killers of the Flower Moon, Yorgos Lanthimos for Poor Things, Justine Triet for Anatomy of a Fall, Jonathan Glazer for The Zone of Interest. Those are the Best Director nominees.
I do like the Oscars. I will watch, obviously. But again, I haven't seen everything. I wonder if Anatomy of a Fall is up for a SAG. I haven't done I usually do really well in watching most everything before I vote. But honestly, it is so hard. Oh, yeah. So Anatomy of Fall, I think it's up for it. We'll see. I don't know. I think I'm reading an old article. But yeah, so that's about somebody dies, like there's a couple, and I think the boyfriend dies. Or the girlfriend dies, and like somebody's like, it's about relationships. It looks kind of good. It's up my alley. So I want to watch that one.
And I think I had one more, which is Dwayne Johnson is going back to his roots. I think we're coming to the end of the show.
That's okay.
But the pro wrestler turned actor and businessman is being named to the board of directors of TKO Group Holdings, the company created when WWE merged with UFC. So as part of this deal, Johnson will gain ownership of the trademark nickname The Rock that he used when he broke into superstardom with WWE in the 90s and early 2000s. So pretty good deal for The Rock. He now owns The Rock.
Yeah, he was very popular when he went, he became like one of the bad characters versus a very nice one. So again, though, my wrestling watching days are long gone. So, but good for him. Good on you. Good on you.
I'm Kim McAllister, and this is The Nikki Medoro Show.
All right, that is our show. We have tons of stuff to talk about, but I do want to let you guys know that tomorrow, not only will we have Chip Franklin on, but I have 2 interviews to talk about one of the major issues we're dealing with in California, which is homelessness. So I'll be first speaking with Dr. Susan Partovi, Renegade MD. She's out with this book that looks at homelessness and kind of she's called the homeless doctor. She was actually portrayed in a film called Tell It Like a Woman by actress Marcia Gay Harden. But anyways, she's a leading expert in poverty, street medicine, medical director at Homeless Healthcare in Los Angeles. She'll be on with us. And then I'm going to be speaking with Steve Ademi, who's with the Salvation Army's The Way Out program, which is a recovery-focused homeless initiative. So we're just going to be talking about solutions to homelessness, which is extremely important right now. So you won't want to miss those interviews. I'm really happy that they were able to do it. And they were able to do it on the same day. So I'm like, well, we'll just have a big old chunk. We're just going to deal with this. So if you have any questions or whatever, of course, tune in for that. Okay, I want to say some thank yous real quickly before we go. Spencer, $5 super sticker. Brian came in with $5 as well. Karen, $20. Yes, we're talkers. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Pamela with $5 donation. Thanks for the California Senate debate discussion today, of course. And Doug with a $5 super sticker. Thank you guys so, so much. All right, so stay here. Mark Thompson is next. Then the after party with Kim McAllister and John Daly. Click the thumbs up button. Please consider donating to our Patreon as well. Just go to thenikkimedoroshow.com. thenikkimedoroshow.com. Our Patreon link is there. Every dollar helps. We love doing the show, and we want to keep doing it. All right, you guys. I love you all. Thank you so much. We'll talk tomorrow right here. Bye-bye.
Nikki, you're all so awesome. Miss Brown, like a beautiful blossom. You're all so the best. I really can't rest. You're all so awesome.
Wow. Okay.